everyone. So the first polish I'm going to swatch for you today is Strawberry Margarita. Just to let you know, I actually have 11 polishes for you today, and then I'm going to have 11 polishes next week because these are the last 22 OPI nail polishes I have to swatch for you in my entire OPI collection. Let me know in the comments down below which brand you want me to do next. I asked on my Instagram when I first started this project to see which brand you wanted me to start with, and I thought you guys could let me know which brand to go on to next. So let me know in the comments down below what you want to see. It can be a mainstream brand or it could be indies if you wanted to do that. Strawberry Margarita is a warm mid-toned pink cream. This is also an older polish, and this was another polish that I saw, I believe, on Scrangy first, and I am not one to gravitate towards mid-tone pink creams, but I saw it on her and I thought it's very, very pretty, so I picked it up. I'm going to go in now with the second coat of Strawberry Margarita. You could see at the first coat it actually applied pretty evenly. It wasn't super opaque. It did have a little bit of a thinness to it, but with the second coat it does build up the color quite nicely, and I think it makes it a little bit brighter. It's not super bright in that first coat. It's by no means like a neon, but it's definitely a bright pink. So that is 2 coats of Strawberry Margarita. It's actually fully opaque in 2 coats as well. So this polish I think I am going to destash. I don't wear it as much as I want to, and I have a bright pink, which I will show you in just one second, which I actually like a little bit more. So this one is going to be destashed. This next polish is called That's Hot Pink, and this is actually my favorite bright mid-tone pink from OPI. I would say this is pretty much a neutral pink. It's not super warm. It's not super blue toned either. It does tend to get a little bit more blue toned, but it's definitely bright enough that it's not too obviously almost like magenta. In the first coat you can see it goes on a little bit thin, like a lot of OPI pinks do, but it does build up pretty well. You can see that it is a little bit blue toned in that first swatch though, so yeah, that's the first coat of That's Hot Pink. I'm going to go in now with the second coat of That's Hot Pink, and this does get the polish fully opaque, and it does, again, like Strawberry Margarita, give it a little bit more brightness, and it's like fuller as a color. Strawberry Margarita is definitely more of a warm pink than this one is. I personally think that that slight blue tone to this polish makes it a little bit more flattering on my skin tone. So it's kind of like the perfect Barbie pink for my skin tone. So yeah, this is 2 coats of That's Hot Pink. So this one I am going to keep, although I am going to compare it to some Zoya pinks once I get to Zoya nail polish. But this is one of my go-to pinks, and I actually really like layering pink glitters over this. I just feel like it gets a little bit more bright and just makes the pink glitter stand out so beautifully. So this is going to stay in my stash. This polish is called You Only Live Twice. This was from the Skyfall collection. This is a magenta, almost a red. It's definitely got a lot of red tones in it, but it's a magenta glass fleck. This has actually a pretty decent color coverage in that first coat. The pink comes out pretty nicely, and you can see how warm of a pink that is. It's definitely almost a red polish. I did keep it in my pink section because you can see in that first coat that it reads very pink. But once you build it up, it gets a little bit deeper. So that is the first coat of You Only Live Twice. I'm going to go in now with the second coat of You Only Live Twice. And this builds up the color to full opacity, and it does make the color deeper, as I said before. The shimmer comes out really nicely as well. The shimmer in this polish in the bottle reads kind of golden, but when it's on the nail, it definitely reads to look sort of like a dark pink within a dark pink, but it has quite a bit of depth to it as well because of that slight gold tone to it. So that is 2 coats of You Only Live Twice. So this polish is going to go in the compare pile as well. Again, I just want to compare it to all of the different glass flecks that I have in especially the dark pink range. So yeah, this is going to go in my compare box. So this polish is called Meep Meep Meep. This is from the Muppets collection. I was watching Parks and Rec like yesterday, and there's that scene where John Ralphio and Mona Lisa talk to their lawyer, and he's like, did anyone ever tell you you look like Beaker? Meep, 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 meep. So that's what this polish reminds me of eternally. This again was from the Muppets collection. This is a little bit more of a chunkier, like a flakier glass fleck, and also a dark pink base. The shimmer in this is definitely much more apparent just because it has that texture to it. The pink base is very similar to You Only Live Twice in that it is a dark pink that also reads very similarly red-like in the bottle. It does build up though to be a nice magenta, sort of like a crushed raspberry jam type of color. So that's the first coat of Meep Meep Meep. I'm going to go in now with the second coat of Meep Meep Meep. This definitely adds quite a bit of shimmer. You can see how sparkly it is, and it does deepen the color a little bit to be more of that sort of raspberry pink color. It applies pretty nicely. It's a pretty easy polish to use, but it's very, very similar to You Only Live Twice and quite a few other dark pink glass flecks that I own. So yeah, that is 2 coats of Meep Meep Meep. So this polish I am going to destash. I just have too many dark pinks that I want to compare anyway, and so this one, it's just too similar to other things that I have to keep just in case. So this is going to be destashed. This polish is called Love is a Racket. This was from the Serena Williams collection as well. And this is a lighter pink glass fleck. It reminds me a lot of the light pink glass fleck that was part of Zoya's Sparkle collection, but it is a little bit more on the coral red like range than straight up a light pink. You can see how warm that is, and really how red that base is for the shimmer that's inside of it. The shimmer is a little bit chunkier as well. It's very similar to the shimmer that was in Meep Meep Meep. So yeah, that is the first coat of Love is a Racket. I'm going to go in now with the second coat of Love is a Racket. This actually reminds me a lot of like watermelon hard candy. That's like the type of pink it is. It's very bright and it's very saturated, but it still has sort of like a translucent candy type of feel to it. And that shimmer that comes through gives it a really cool sort of glassy effect in the polish. It's actually opaque in 2 coats, which is surprising given the color tone and that sort of glassy feel, but yeah, it's opaque in 2 coats and it goes on pretty nicely. So as different as this polish is amongst the pinks, especially in my collection, I think I am going to destash this. I haven't worn it very often, and this tone of pink, it's almost like a neon pink in this finish, is not something that I wear very often, as pretty as it is, so it's going to be destashed. This polish is called I Lily Love You. This was from like a 4-piece, it was either a Valentine's Day collection or like a mini pre-summer sort of collection, and this is a very, very sheer pink jelly base with a bunch of opalescent shards mixed into it. This is definitely one of those polishes that is best as a topper, but I bought it because I love that sort of gel-like look on the nail with the layering of the opalescent shards. So that is the first coat of I Lily Love You. I'm going to go in now with the second coat of I Lily Love You, and this really actually reminds me of like the pink version of Last Friday Night, which was that like blue with the opalescent glitter in it. Of course, this has different components, but it is very similar in concept and in the way that it finishes on the nail. It does finish very translucent and very sheer, even though you build it up. It never really gets fully opaque. So I am going to do 2 coats so it doesn't get too thick on the nail, but you can see how much glitter pickup it has and how much depth it has as a polish. So this one I am going to keep. It's another one that I feel like not a ton of people really liked it when it came out, but I love the effect of this on the nail. I don't wear it plain as often as I do last Friday night, but this one I love doing jelly sandwich manicures with, so this is going to stay in my stash. So this polish is called Excuse Moi. This was from the Muppets collection as well, and this is one of my favorite pink glitters. This is a mid-toned pink micro glitter in a pink base with a bunch of silver micro glitter as well as rainbow hex like mini glitters in there. It's very, very thick. It is definitely a polish that has gotten thicker as I've used it, but it is so pretty and it's so unique in my collection of pinks throughout all of my other colors that I have. And it actually applies very, very nicely. It's pretty opaque in one coat to the point where if you did a thick coat, you could probably get it fully opaque. So that is the first coat of Excuse Moi. I'm going to go in now with the second coat of Excuse Moi, and this will get the polish fully opaque. And it adds quite a bit of glitter, and it just makes it sparkly and girly and fun. And this really is like the perfect Miss Piggy nail polish, and I love it. So yeah, that is 2 coats of Excuse Moi. So this polish I am going to keep. It's one of my favorite pinks. It's gorgeous. I love it. So yeah, this is going to stay in my stash. This polish is called Dutch Tulips, and this is actually a pretty old polish on the brush. It has one of those exclusive pro wide brush labels on it. So this is a pretty old polish, but it is a beauty nonetheless. This is one of those polishes, again, saw on a blog, thought I had to have it because it swatched perfectly on like every blog that I saw. So yeah, that's the first coat. It definitely reads very reddish again, but it's like that perfect tulip color, in that if you've ever seen pink tulips, they're not super, super pink, but they're not also really red either. And I'm talking about the really, not like a light pink tulip, but those like springtime tulips. I don't know, in my town, there is a lot of tulips that grow, and they're this sort of mix of a reddish pink. So yeah, that's the first coat of Dutch Tulips. I'm going to go in now with the second coat of Dutch Tulips, and this gets the polish fully opaque, and this is one of those older OPI creams that just has the most beautiful shine to it and is so easy to apply and is just a very flattering color. I think because it does veer towards the red side of pinks, I tend to wear this more than other pinks. And yeah, it's a beautiful springtime. It's a great pedicure color as well. So that is 2 coats of Dutch Tulips by OPI. This polish I am going to keep in my stash. It's one of my favorite pink, especially springtime pedicure colors. So this is going to stay. This polish is called Chapel of Love. This was from... It was either like an Elvis collection or a Las Vegas collection. Either way, this polish I actually found at CVS. I was chatting to somebody on Twitter and they were looking for this polish, and I was like, oh, I found it at CVS. Would you like one? And there were a couple there, so I sent one to her and I kept one for myself. And yeah, it's a really pretty, almost salmon-y, sort of melon pink color with a very soft gold shimmer running through it. It is gorgeous. It is definitely a springtime pink color. It's not one for somebody that is not into sort of corally colors. It definitely reads a little bit corally on the nail because it is so warm, and it has that sort of salmon tint to it. So yeah, that is the first coat of Chapel of Love. I'm going to go in now with the second coat of Chapel of Love, and this adds full opacity to the polish, and the shimmer comes out a little bit nicer in that second coat. The pink gets a little bit brighter and a little bit more punchy. And yeah, that is 2 coats of Chapel of Love. So this polish is going to go in the maybe pile. I'm going to see if I wear it, especially during the springtime, and then see where I decide to go with it from there. I haven't worn it as much as I wanted to, but it is so pretty that I do want to keep it around, just especially when springtime comes, to see if I do wear it. This polish is called Mod About You, and this is one of those classic OPI colors. This is a very, very chalky pastel light baby pink. It actually has a little bit of a blue tone to it, so it's not super warm. And I believe this came out in the very first like Brights collection. And you can see just how light that is as a pastel. It actually has decent color coverage in that first coat. You just want to be careful to not overly manipulate this on the nail because it will go streaky. This first coat almost reads a little bit purpley, but it definitely builds to be that beautiful baby pink, like baby nursery pink sort of color. So that's the first coat of Mod About You. I'm going to go in now with the second coat of Mod About You. This is definitely one of those polishes that really benefits from OPI's really wide brush because you can get as much coverage as you need to without overly stroking the nail. You can see if you do it too much, it does get a little bit streaky, but especially because I have sort of a smaller nail bed, this brush is perfect because I can get a lot of coverage with minimal strokes. It does go fully opaque in 2 coats because it's actually a very opaque pastel, and it's one of my go-to pink pastels as well. It's the one that I kind of pick from most of the time because although most pastels have a fairly streaky formula, the brush on this one definitely makes it very easy for me to apply to the nail. So that is 2 coats of Mod About You. So this polish I am going to keep for now. I do have a couple from China Glaze that I want to compare this to, and one from Zoya, and some Essie polishes especially that I want to compare this to, but it is one of my favorites because of the brush. And you can see, again, as I mentioned in the swatching, that this does get a little bit more pink as you swatch it. So that is Mod About You. So this polish is called Pink of Hearts 2. This is going to be the 11th polish that I show you today. This was a breast cancer awareness polish that OPI came out with. I believe it was 2010 or 2009. And OPI does breast cancer awareness either promotions or duos or specific polishes almost every year, I feel like. The particular polish that I have for you today, Pink of Hearts 2, is a very sheer pink color. It's actually very similar to Bubble Bath by OPI, but it's a little bit darker. It's not Bubble Bath was not my favorite color, so that's why this one actually ended up staying in my stash originally, because I just thought that this one was way better. At first coat you can see it's very sheer and it looks almost like a clear coat. So that is the first coat of Pink of Hearts 2. I'm going to go in now with the second coat of Pink of Hearts 2. And since this polish never really gets fully opaque, like many polishes like this, I'm actually going to just do 2 coats. You can see that it does add a little bit of pinkness to the nail. It definitely just makes your nails look very healthy. It's one of those sheer polishes that is dark enough that it looks pretty skin tone for a light to medium skin tone, and so it just makes your nails look very healthy and manicured and just clean. So that is 2 coats of Pink of Hearts 2. So this polish I am going to put in the keep to compare pile. There are a couple from Essie that I want to compare this to before I decide whether or not I want to keep this particular polish. So that is this week's video. I hope you guys liked it. If you did, if you could give it a thumbs up, that would totally make my day. If you're new to my channel, if you could subscribe, that would also totally make my day. And again, let me know in the comments down below what brands you want to see next. I have one more OPI video and then we are going to move on to the next brand. So let me know. It can be mainstream or indie. So yeah, let me know and I will see you guys soon.